In this lesson, we're going to talk about formatting your fonts. And what is that? Font is simply the style that your text is printed in, your text or numbers when you're working in Excel. And up to now, we haven't really worried about it, but Excel has a lot of different options for the fonts. And so we're going to look at some of those. So the biggest thing to remember is just choose a font that suits your needs. Don't overthink it. Don't make it too complicated. But there are some cases where having a variety is kind of interesting. I'm going to go down here and I'm going to click on this cell here, choose a font that suits your needs. Up on the Home tab in the Home ribbon, you have a group here called Font, and that's where we're going to spend most of our time in this lesson. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is come down here to 9 and look at what the font name is. So this is a drop down, and right now we're in a font called Calibri. If I click this drop down, you'll see that there are a tremendous amount of fonts we can look at. Okay, and there's a sample of each one as you roll over it. It's going to show up with whatever cell is highlighted on your screen. Okay, I want to go look for Times New Roman. So scrolling all the way down to the T's might be a little aggressive, but I'm almost there. So let's go to Times New Roman. And that's a pretty standard font. It looks a little formal, but it's got some, some edges on some of the characters. And now let's go and try Ariel here. So here I can click there and go down and find Ariel. That's another standard font. It's got a little bit more of a softer edge to it. Trebuchet is another one that's kind of a softer edge. But here, look what we can do here. So I don't have to scroll all the time. I can just start typing the name of the font if I know it. And the predictive text comes up, and that's what it is. I'll hit enter. And then we've got two more we're going to look at, Chiller and Script. So let's look at another way to select your fonts. If I right click on that cell, then we've got our shortcut menus here, but down below that font dialog box comes up. So I can just start typing here, C-H-I-L-L. I can go to Chiller, and there it is. Click that. And then I can click on this, right click and do the same thing. Look for a script font. And it's right there. So there's some interesting options here. Again, don't overthink this too much, but if you do need a different font to make it seem a little nicer, maybe you're doing a formal invitation to something, that might be a good case for a script font. So I could put that there. And then what about a scary movie? That might be good for Chiller. Okay, well now we've got the font style selected. So let's go down and talk about sizing it. We can make the font bigger or smaller. So for this first one in row 26, we're going to use the font size combo box to resize. So that's up here. That's this drop down that has all these different font sizes. They go in steps of 2, and you can see as I get bigger and bigger how big it'll be. So let's go to 36 on this one. And then in the next one, you'll use a different tool. Let's use the nudge tools to go up and down. So up here, it's the capital A with an up arrow and the capital A that's smaller with a down arrow. So if I click this, it'll get bigger. And if I click the one next to it, it'll get smaller. Okay? Now, let me look at the sizes here again. I'll right click here and I can look at the sizes here. And the smallest size I have here is 8. That's pretty small. I can still read it, but it's still tiny. Okay, just wanted to show you that because let's look at the next cell. Click on the next cell, I can't even read that. Okay, it's so small I can't read it. One of the things to notice if I right click here is that the size is 3 right there in that combo box. Even though it wasn't a pre-filled option, some of these fonts you can type in a value that's not there. Most of the fonts you can. So if I type in 3, then it's small. Stays small. And then I can go up a size. I can go up to maybe 48. Okay? See how that looks. And another thing I could do is maybe I want to get even bigger, but 72 is too big and 48 is too small. So I could just go in here and type 60 and that'll be right in the middle. Again, you're not limited to the drop-down choices, but they are pretty standard. Now we've got sizing done. Let's go down and put some effects and some colors on our fonts. So right here, we've got this statement is bold, this is italicized, underlined, strike this from the record, superscript and subscript. So the ones that we use most often are sitting up there on that ribbon. Bold, if I click that with whatever cell I'm on, italicized, and underline. And these font controls are ones that will apply to everything that's highlighted too. So if I highlighted all of this and wanted to make it bold and underline, I could do that all together. I'm going to go ahead and back up because I don't want to do that right now. Now strike this from the record. There's no icon right here in our font group, but a lot of these groups have this little flyaway box here. If I click this, it'll bring up our Format Cells dialog box again. And here we've got some more options. Strike through, superscript, and subscript. So let's do strike through and struck through the record. And then what about superscript? Let's go here. And I want to do superscript. Well, that's neat. It made it, you know, like a superscript on top of the cell, but usually the words are normal and just the number is a superscript, right? So let's back up and see how to do that. If I click on the cell, whatever I do applies to it, but I can also double click in there, highlight what I want the formatting to be applied to. So from here, now I can pull up my font group and do my superscript. Click OK. Same thing with subscript. I can double click it, highlight the two, and then go to my subscript. So now for some colors. We've got some effects here, but now I have some other colors. Now these are also on the font group or they're on the shortcut here. So right now here I've got a white background and black text. We'll leave that alone. What about a gray background and purple text? Well, if I right click and go to my fill bucket, that's going to fill the background of the cell. So I want that to be gray, but then I want the text, which is this color here, the one with the A on it, I want that to be purple. So I'll click purple. Go to the next one. We'll do a blue background with yellow text. Let's do that one from these menus here. Blue background, many shades of blue to choose from. How about, I'll do a darker shade here. And then if I want yellow text, again, I can just do the drop down and get my yellow text going. And what about a red background but orange text? Let's go up here, we'll set the background to be red. And then just like the other effects that we put on fonts, if I only want a part of this to be orange, I can double click it, and I can double click that text, and I can make that orange. So it can just be one part of the text. And that's about all there is to formatting fonts. Let's get ready for the next lesson.